Simcast is my friend. We have a lot of differences. We don't agree on most things, but that's fine. We're trying to teach everybody that you can disagree and still remain friendly. But speaking of her beauty, look at those full, luscious lips. Look at those big, gorgeous puppy dog brown eyes. Perfect little nose.
He can write a comment on my channel anytime he wants to. I'm not always going to respond, and I know that hurts him. And
you can't tell me she couldn't be a dramatic actress. I'm not always going to respond, and I know that hurts him. Lady, I don't even know who you are. How could I be hurt by somebody that I've never seen? I figured out when an internet friend turns on you, yes, it does hurt.
So that is a snippet of an upcoming episode, and I have no time frame on when I'm going to upload that. You know, my channel is about different topics, and you know, this is for informative, educational, and entertainment purposes. But I'm just showing you in that snippet that Justin is the exact opposite of what he likes to portray. And you know, he was gone for a while. And there was also during that time a hurricane in Florida. And, you know, there was this talk of Justin actually going out there and helping people to rebuild. How many people do you think he helped to rebuild? How many people actually believe that he did anything to help anyone rebuild in Florida after that hurricane? Because I'm thinking that he helped 0 people. Because Justin is all about helping himself. Even in this clip, you see that he's got his mouth covering his laughter. He really wants people to see that laughter. You know, it's almost like he's pretending that he doesn't want people to see it, but he really wants people to see that laughter. He really wants to show people that he's a big man. He's got all this bravado, all this cover, this glibness about him. And he really wants you to see him laughing, to make me look as to, you know, to portray me as a certain way. So, you know, him covering his mouth here is just him acting, because he really, really wants you to see that laughter. And that's what I want to impart on people in this episode today, that what he shows of himself is not really himself, and he hasn't told you the full truth of himself, and he probably never will. Because, and I think when I look at certain channels and people talk about supply, you have the Live Free channel, for example, where she talks about these topics. She's excellent. She speaks English and she explains herself very, very well. I'm not going to use the middle word that she has in her title, because I want to make this as listener friendly as possible. But, you know, I don't think that there is to understand people like Justin, to actually get him, you have to understand his need for constant supply. It's all about how he can use somebody to help himself. He's not looking to help others. He's looking for what others can do to help him. Now, I'm not interested in getting his attention. He mentioned something on his latest video about him, we might never see him again or whatever. And I don't mean we as in me or anybody on my channel, but I mean, to his subs. I would open the champagne if Justin decided not to do another video. So I'm not looking for his attention. I observe him from afar, and I learn from observing people. And from what I've observed, and, I've criticized and critiqued the Rusex and Frankie and, the constant asking for donations and stuff like that. And I will talk about that again on this channel. I wanted to give that topic a break. Having said that, Frankie has nothing on Justin when it comes to getting supply. Justin will test you, and he'll see how far he can go with you. See how much, see what your weak spots are. And he'll see how far he can take it, see how far he can play you. And, he's very selective with what he tells you as well. It's like selective truth, He'll give you a bit of truth and he'll put a bit of embellishment in there and some faction in there. And he'll always make himself out to be the better person. But I am noticing that some people are starting to catch on to the fact that he's always got that begging bowl out, waiting for you to fill it. It's always about how he can use someone to gain and benefit for himself. And, I did this video on him and, about getting a job and stuff like that. Having any kind of past is not an excuse to have 3 kids and not be providing for them. And it just so happens that maybe his wife or partner or mother of his kids comes from a very good and decent family and want their daughter and their grandchildren to have a better life. And they're offering shelter. They're offering a nice environment, a better environment, a more stable environment. And he's not even appreciative of that. He's criticizing the fact that his wife or his kids are being offered a better opportunity. And they've been offered that because he can't provide. And there's always some excuse why he can't provide. And he doesn't seem to realize that there is cause and effect in life, that there's consequences of your actions. And, everything is centered around him. And it's not about him so much being able to provide. It's about him always winning and him always getting something over on somebody else to benefit himself. That's what he's about. It's always about supply. From one video to the next since he's come back that he's made, have you noticed how he hints about how much money he needs to tie him over? Have you noticed? Because I have, and I observe him from afar. I don't associate with him because I started to realize the type of person that he was. That's why I stopped associating with him. But I observe people from afar. And I have to say, I used to criticize Dave and everything like that. I realize now that Dave, you don't see Dave doing this kind of thing. Dave gets his super chats, but guess what? Dave, even when I don't agree with what Dave does in terms of, what his opinions are, whatever, or opinions he puts out there, Dave actually has worked and has had a job and puts his heart and soul into things. And even though there are things that Dave does that I still don't like to this day, you don't see him going around constantly trying to get supply from people. But this is the type of person that Justin is. He uses people. And, someone came to me the other day. It was a friend of mine who came to me and said, no matter what it is, no matter what, he uses it as an excuse to get that begging bowl out. No matter what it is, he uses it as an excuse to get supply. Now, let me correct this a little bit. Justin never actually went anywhere. He has been watching, he watches every video that I put out from start to finish, even when it's not about him. So he never actually went anywhere. He's always been around. He just hasn't been uploading. And, people like him, they never, ever lose sight of their former sources of supply. And I'm a former source of supply for him because I gave him attention. I stuck up for him. I spoke up for him. And even though I criticized him heavily on a lot of things, I gave him attention. And attention is supply. Okay. And, he loved it. So when I stopped giving him that attention, the facade, it kind of, I'll explain it to you in another video. But people like him, they have a kind of facade. And they need supply to feel important. And when they stop getting that supply, they kind of go into a kind of state, which he has been in. And I'll explain that another time. But, you know, he used my attention and he used my, you know, kind things that I would say to him. He used it because that's what he's about. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm anyone to give anyone job advice because, as you know, I went to a private school, but I was not an academic person. I'm not an academic person. Princess Diana, she spoke the Queen's English. She only got 3 O-levels or whatever. I think it was O-levels in her time. So, you know, you can speak well and speak the Queen's English. I'm an intelligent person, but I have very little academic intelligence. I also can be very demotivated. So sometimes I need great motivation to actually get up and do things. So I'm no one to be giving him any kind of job advice or educational advice. But at the same time, he's the one who has a family to support and 3 kids. You know, he said a lot about Nicole Kessinger, and that's something that I'm gonna deal with in another episode. You know, Nicole Kessinger had a job. She was an independent woman. She had a good job, a better job than Justin has ever had. And yet, Justin saw her as somebody that was not a great person, to say the least. And I'm wording this in the most pleasant way. You know, he sees himself as better than somebody like Nicole Kessinger, but Nicole Kessinger had a job, a decent job, a good job, and she didn't have 3 kids to support. So this is the type of person that he is. Always have to have something over somebody else. And like I said, I figured him out. I outsmarted him. I outwitted him, and he couldn't believe it. He could not believe it. He could not believe that I actually outsmarted him. But he wouldn't see it that way because he doesn't see things in that way. But he got, you know, I outwitted him. He thought that, you know, my attention and being nice to him, he thought all of that he could use. And when he realized that I was no longer going to be a supply source for him, you know, I think he took it. It was upsetting for him, but he was not going to admit that because he always has to have that you know, that facade. And I'll talk about that more in upcoming videos. But I'm just doing this to actually let people catch on and let people know that it's all about getting supply. So, you know, he's probably going to continue. If he does continue making videos, there's probably going to be more hints about figures and sums and money that he needs, because that's what he's all about, getting supply. Everything about Justin, everything about him, his whole being, his entire being and entity is about feeding himself, getting supply. That's what he's about. That is what he's all about. That is very central to understand to his character. And, you know, he's got all that charm, and it makes him seem, he portrays himself like a very nice person, and he can come across as a very nice person. But I'm just letting you know that is all a facade. And this is just me trying to educate you. You don't have to agree with me if you don't want to. I have no degrees in this kind of thing. What I have is experience, life experience. And this is what I've witnessed from my own interactions with him. And, you know, I think he's done a good job over the years of, you know, he's been able to, you know, his wife has actually gone out to work and supported him. And there came a point where that changed, and now the responsibility, it has come back on him, because I think her business, you know, because of COVID and all the things that happened during that time, I think her business was closed, something to that effect. So now he's having to provide, and the onus is on him to provide. And so he's going to be seeking more supply from you folks. I'm just letting you know that right now. It'd be interesting to see how he responds to this. And I don't mean direct response. I mean, he'll watch this. As soon as he sees it come up in his browser or whatever, he's going to click on it and he's going to watch it from beginning to end. I don't think he knows that I figured him out like this, However, he'll know by the end of this video. But, you know, it's all about getting and gaining for him. And, you know, that laptop that he said that he got, have you seen it? I thought I'd end this on a friendly note.